Hail and Mage's Kingdom, welcome to Dragon Age Veilguard. It's me, Spot the King, and today I present you my new Mage build. It will be Ice Mage that focuses on charge attacks. Yeah, while mages can be basically built around spells, we will be building this mage around charge attacks that do an insane amount of damage. And coolest part, all our skills will have no mana, so you don't need to worry about mana usage at all. You can spam them as much as you wish, very easy to play, very fun. To make everything work, you need right equipment, right companions, and also correct skills. Let's start with the skill tree first. As you can see, we will play with Evoker specialization today, and Evoker specialization will be locked behind level 20, but even before we will get insanely cool and fun build to play. All skills that we need for our build will be in this part of the skill tree, and that's why before level 20 I recommend just going and getting all the skills first. We will start with Mind Blast over here. That gives you ability to tap your heavy attack when you hold in your block, and it will push enemies away and stun them a little bit. Then we get in Charging Spirit to generate staff energy when you're out of combat. Pretty useful because when you enter combat you will have charged staff for really powerful charged heavy attack. And if you didn't know, the basic moveset is light attacks will launch as quick attacks bolts, while heavy attacks, especially with charged stuff, will push enemies like this and deals nice amounts of damage. Then we instantly get in Frost Nova. Frost Nova is great. It's your first area control ability, it requires only cooldown, and also it will apply frozen around you. Enemies come close, you cast this stuff, and enemies is frozen, so they basically standing still. They can't move or attack. And then we get in damage versus frozen plus 15%, great damage increase in early game especially. And you probably will want to go to the Evoker part right now, but don't rush there, you don't need to go over there like too fast. First of all, we won't have a lot of benefits in here, and second of all, we want to get our skills first. And you won't be level 20 when you hit Evoker anyway, if you're not going like long way first. So what we have here, we get Fate Reflex, and you can time your dodge and then you will slow down time a little bit, pretty like nice little trait, little feat. Then you can pick left or right, it doesn't matter, we're just going like top, and you can pick left or right, get some advantage duration plus 20%. Whenever you take damage, regenerate 5 mana over here. Then we get in left cold damage plus 10%, since we will focus on cold spells and cold mage. And then we get an Ice Blast. It's control blast spell, and instantly it will cost 2 mana. So at first it will cost 2 mana. It will apply shield to enemies. They will take cold damage over time, will slow movement and attacks. Apply weakened, so you can basically detonate it with your allies later on. Then you get in the right note over here, mana regeneration plus 15%. Make sure to get absorb. Whenever you defend against attack, you will charge your stuff, so you can not evade, you can just hold your block button and be completely fine. And get this greater authority ability upgrade. Control abilities will have lower cooldown, so they will cool down 20 seconds faster, and Ice Blast will become cooldown ability. So instead of costing 2 mana, it will be just cooldown spell with 40-second cooldown, which is great. At this point you will be around level 10 or even early in the game, because you can find some wolf statues and get some skill points without leveling up. What to do next? Next we are going for our last spell, so we're going to the top right part of the skill tree, and from this part over here, from meditation, we're going to the bottom right. So we get in mana infusion first, performing takedown, grant some mana and staff energy. We won't take down a lot of enemies, but whatever. Getting more shield stacks over here, and finally getting Dark Squall. It's projectile control ability with just cooldown, no mana cost, and it will also apply shield. So with all spells we can apply shield, we can apply frozen, deal more damage versus enemies, and then we get in Bolt Volley and basically unlocking Evoker, so that's only if we are level 20 already. What we got over here if we are below level 20, what we want to unlock. So we want to get all skills over here. We already have this control ability, and we can have this block mana cost minus 30%. Again, pretty useful if you just holding your block against some enemies, charging your stuff, then unleashing your charge attack. And also upgrade area abilities. For every enemy hit with area ability, you generate some stuff energy. And basically with this build, we will combine some area abilities with charge attacks for insane amounts of cold damage. Also, each active advantage increases your damage by 10%. Pretty nice buff. And to make this buff kind of permanent, we can go to the bottom right from this node. From Frostbite that we already have, we can have Frost Shield. Enemies who inflict damage on you are chilled, so they will be slowed and take damage over time. And also Shellbreaker, damage versus armor plus 20%, and Light Armor Mastery. While wearing light armor, that will increase damage of your abilities. Light armor is the most powerful armor that you can have for your abilities. You will have staff energy charge rate bonus with staff energy attack range plus 2, so it will make it even larger and more powerful. It will always give you this advantage, and you will always have this plus 10%. At this point, you will definitely be Evoker already. But before we jump into Evoker, let me explain what we're taking over here. Basically, over here we're getting all like spell buffs that we can. So definitely get Primer Duration if you haven't already, get more radius for area ability effects, get more damage for control abilities over here. And on the right part we have hitting 3 or more enemies with area ability will grant enhanced damage, and also control abilities grant deflect after you deal critical hit. That's all advantages that can increase our damage with even the odds later. All our abilities is control, but Frost Nova is area ability, so it will benefit from buffs over here. Ice Blast is blast ability, it won't benefit from a lot of stuff that we are learning, mostly only from control abilities, but our Dark Squall is projectile ability, so it will benefit from projectile bonuses that we take over here. And you want to take them mostly after you already achieve Evoker and got all other skills. So over here you can have more affliction damage, so more damage when you apply shield, and it will be shield damage that will be increased. And upgrade to projectile abilities. They will launch additional projectile based on your stuff. Upgrade to control abilities for all active afflictions. Will have more. Basically, when you apply shield and hit enemy with control ability, it will receive 1 additional stack. That's the cool and like fun part. Basically, enemy will attack you, enemy will be shielded, you will cast Frost Nova, he will have 2 stacks of shield, Ice Blast 3 stacks of shield, and Dark Squall 4 stacks of shield. Just like that. Pretty nice like control ability buff. Also we get in light attack damage versus health plus 10%, and upgrade to control abilities. They will deal some damage around, and projectile abilities will deal more damage versus barrier. Now let's talk about Evoker, because you don't want to go to the bottom part, it's basically late game. In Evoker part, when you hit level 20, get Evoker, get your Vortex of Shadow ultimate, and that's insane ultimate, very powerful spell. And it's just Vortex that takes enemy, they gather in one place, and you can hit them with your area of effect abilities. Basically you're destroying everyone, insanely powerful spell. Then we got Entropic Sphere. While Entropic Sphere is really great spell, I really like it, but for this build I don't want to have it, I want all my abilities to be control. And when you get Evoker, definitely get cold damage plus 10% and upgrade to projectile abilities, so when you launch projectile ability, your light attacks will be extra powerful with additional bolt. Upgrade heavy attack damage, because you will use it a lot, and upgrade control abilities. Using control abilities generate staff energy. Again, as I told you, you want to enter the fight, you want to hit with your staff energy, basically with your charge heavy attack. Then you spam all control abilities, you stun and lock enemies, you inflict a lot of shield, it will charge your stuff, and you will unleash 1 more stuff. That's our basic combination. And now we can basically finish the build by picking nodes over here. So we get in fire cold resistance, we get in resistance to cold damage over here, and we get in staff energy charge rate plus 20%. It's not like really important stuff, but whatever, we can take it. We can take mana regeneration over here, get bonus to our ability damage, and that's really important. Like stuff over here, you can get it earlier if you wish to, and basically abilities will gain more bonus damage based on your staff and orb weapons. That's why you want your staff and orb to be cold damage, so you will increase your ability damage by a lot. Cold ability damage, of course. More maximum mana over here, chain lightning, and charge attack damage plus 10%. So we will be doing heavy charge attacks a lot. That's why we want this node over here. After this build is basically ready, you can get this build around level like 30, and it will work completely like a magic. You don't need a lot of these nodes. And if you wish to actually finish the build, like what you want to do in the late game and where to focus, it's basically focus on the skills. So when you get some extra skill points, just get any skill you can, because any skill will increase your ability damage. So just by picking skills and not using them, you will have more ability damage. I like this penetration node over here, so having penetration is also nice, especially on harder difficulties. But mostly you don't need all of this stuff, it's just insanely late game-ish, and you won't benefit from this a lot. But what you will benefit from is your gear. So yeah, gear is important. And we got one nice unique ring, Essence Vortex. Abilities will cost more mana, but we will have 30% more ability damage at the same time. And it's unique ring, so it's really easy to get, you just need to know where to find it. And I got insane video, make sure to watch this video in the description. You can find the link to find every legendary unique item in this game. Every unique item, of course. But funniest part, this ring, while it will make abilities cost more mana, won't actually affect our control abilities, thanks to our greater authority feat, skill, whatever. Basically, after you take this skill, it will completely remove all mana cost from your control abilities, at least in the patch I'm playing right now. That's why I really suggest you trying this build, and it's really fun to play. So, what we got over here? Let's start with our weapon. We got Glacial Rod. If you don't know how to find weapons in this game, basically every weapon got some faction behind it. It's Shadow Dragon's Rod. This means you will more likely, it doesn't matter, it will drop only here, but you will more likely find this stuff in Dogtown. Dogtown is Shadow Dragon faction town, basically. Look for traders, chests, quests in this area, and you will most likely upgrade this stuff like very fast. That's how I found like a lot of success by finding to find weapons, of course, in this game. So Glacial Rod, it's cold damage stuff. You will have more heavy attack damage. Again, we are focusing on our heavy attacks, charge attacks of our stuff. Heavy attacks with this weapon will apply shield on full staff energy. Again, we will start fight by doing shield heavy attack, followed by all our blast control abilities that will cost no mana, will deal insane amount of damage, and then it will also increase shield stacks instantly on all our enemies. And also when you upgrade this stuff even more, you can have more staff energy charge rate and more maximum shield stacks, which is insane. For augment for this stuff, I'm using charge attack damage. Again, we're using a lot of charge attacks, so that's nice buff for us. Then orb should be called damage orb, and we got orb that got more charge attack damage, more damage versus shield enemies, and you will benefit from it, so you will easily apply shield with your heavy attacks, and then you will deal more damage versus shield enemies. You will apply frozen with your frost nova and will deal more damage versus frozen enemies, and charge attacks apply shield. Again, pretty nice stuff if you upgrade winter breath faster. Winter breath is orb without faction, so you can find it like anywhere in some random drops. And for our mage knife, while we're not using the spell blade, we still want to have it because Enchanted Untam or something like this. It's Lords of Fortune spell blade, and it will give you more maximum mana. You will gain mana on hit. It will deal 10 more damage for every 50 mana that you are missing, and you won't benefit from it because you won't ever use mana. But if this build will be patched and the spells will actually cost mana, then you will benefit from it anyway. So basically, even if this build is patched, it will be working maybe even better, but just you will play slightly different. But when you upgrade this spell blade to legendary tier, you will get abilities that will cost more mana and deal 100% bonus damage. So you'll basically double the damage of your abilities, you will make them completely broken, and they will cost no mana if you're using this build right now as I am. Now let's talk about our armor, and it will be light armor combination, lots of fortune, insightful covering. So more charge attack damage, more stagger with charge attacks, more ultimate with charge attacks, which gives us ability to gain more ultimate and basically cast Vortex of Shadow a lot more often, and charge attacks cannot be interrupted. That's great upgrade when you upgrade it to legendary tier, because you know when you're doing charge attacks as mage, sometimes enemies attack you, they will interrupt you. No more, basically you can just do whatever you like. And I got plus 10% flat defense upgrade on this helmet. On my orb, by the way, I got 50% damage at high health and 10% weapon damage on my spell blade. While I'm not using them, still we will benefit from these augments, so don't forget to augment your weapons and armors, even when you're not using like some of them, mostly weapons of course. So for our armor, it will be Recruit's Simple Tunic, Grey Warden's Tunic, 25% damage versus armor, some more heavy attack damage, and heavy attacks already have more damage versus armor, so you will just defeat all armored enemies easily, and armored enemies is really annoying in this game, at least in my opinion, and this build deals with them extremely easy. Then when you upgrade it, you will have more damage with charge heavy attacks, again our favorite attack for this build, and you don't need to upgrade it to legendary tier because breaking enemy armor will deal some physical damage around, we don't care about this. Again, you don't need all weapons and armors upgraded to legendary to make this build work, that's like a cool part. And that's my build, basically how I make them. I don't want you to grind for like 50 hours and play the build only in the late game. You can start playing it almost from the start of the game and have fun. So 30 flat defense in augment, and let's go to our belt. Belt is self-explanatory, Shadow Grasp. 15% cold damage, that's all we need over here. When you use potion, it will apply shield, nice buff, but we don't care too much, again, just cold damage. For our amulet, it's Sightless Skull that will increase control ability damage, give more stagger to control abilities, you will gain mana when you deal stagger with control abilities, and you will gain precision when you stagger an enemy with control ability. Again, while this build is completely broken and it should be patched, but it will work even after patch. So if abilities will start to cost mana, you will have a lot more ways to recover mana with all these items. Again, you don't need to upgrade it to legendary tier, it will work from the beginning basically, and I like augment to increase max shield stacks on this. For our first ring, it will be Essence Vortex, as I told you, with projectile ability damage augmentation, and basically it will increase damage of all our abilities. And second ring, Band of Smoke, for more cold damage, cold resistance, cold ability damage versus health, and when you upgrade it to legendary tier, all other damage bonuses will contribute to our cold damage bonus basically, so pretty nice stuff. If you got some other bonuses, but this build is pretty like optimized, so again, you don't need legendary ring to make everything work and be broken. Augmentation is control ability damage, and that basically makes Dark Squall our main and most powerful ability. While on the paper, Ice Blast is most powerful one, it's control blast ability, it deals 100, 1000 and 500 damage. Dark Squall actually dealing 600 damage. So 1k less, but it's projectile ability and it's launching like 5 or even more projectiles sometime. Basically it's launching like few projectiles, that's the coolest part. And it will deal actually like more damage, that's why I like to focus on projectile control instead of control blast, for example. Our runes, pretty easy, 10 ability damage, 10% cold damage and also 10% stagger. That's it, we got a lot of stagger, a lot of ability damage, a lot of charged heavy attack damage, and one completely broken mage. For companions with this broken build you don't care a lot, but again, it's nice idea to have some tanky guy like Davrin just to cast something like Battle Cry, so he will taunt enemies, they will attack him instead of you. Another option is Tash, but she is like fire lady or whoever she is basically. I like to use Davrin instead. He's like more stagger than fire guy. He got stagger shield and pretty fun dude basically. For our second companion we want to use Neve most of the time. Neve is great mage. And the reason is this stuff, Winged Lotus, Winged Locus. So it's the stuff that will give you ability to use attack my target with Neve and make target vulnerable to cold damage. Since our mage using only cold spells, we really want to have ability to destroy enemies who are resistant to cold damage, and that's the way to deal versus them. Since we freeze enemies, exhausted nodes for more frozen duration is nice. Frozen enemies will have -25 to all resistances. You can also have some fun by picking Wicked Calling card on her. Entire party shield application will deal 300 cold damage instead, and it will be tripled against frozen enemies. Again, we can apply shield a lot, so that's a nice, like, cool trinket over here. More frozen duration, as I told you, and detonations apply frozen. So this armor is really great to make everything work together. But we won't be able to detonate actually. So, if you're using Lucanis who can inflict Sundered, then you can use Neve with her ability Icebreaker to detonate Sundered and apply Frozen. But you can just use best armor and it's cool looking for her, and instead use your Blizzard ability. First of all, it's area of effect ability, it will summon Vortex, so hit multiple enemies, and also Flash Freeze on initial impact applies frozen to enemies. Cooldown duration -15%, and then go to the left part. Damage per hit increased by 10%, more duration, and now also applied shield on each hit. Insanely powerful stuff over here. Also, Neve is nice, you can use Replenish, you can use Time Slow, and it's time to show you how broken this build is. So we are entering the fight. Let's start. Again, basically, you can use your companions, don't forget. Basically, you can use Blizzard on them. If you want to, like, detonate your targets, you can use Ice Blast on you. It can be combined with Davrin Dash from above. So we're basically detonating our enemies, but we don't care a lot, and they are frozen. Frozen means they basically will take a lot more damage from our other attacks, and by using attack my target, we'll make them vulnerable to cold damage. So let me actually use attack my target. Now he should be vulnerable to cold, and we can cast our Dark Squall, which is the most powerful ability in our arsenal, and just look at this. He is getting like some attacks, some damage, and being destroyed. Again, normally we will just cast this stuff, they will be frozen, and we will start to use our like basic attacks or charge attacks to increase damage and blow up our targets. So again, that's our main idea. We just go in with block most of the time, we wait attacks, charge our stuff, and then doing our heavy attacks to apply shield when it's charged. Now they taunted because thanks to Davrin we're using some abilities, and following every ability we're doing charged heavy attack. And basically that's our freeze control mage, that's how we play. We're doing some charge attacks, we're doing some freeze stuff on our enemies, and destroying these frozen guys into ashes with a lot of extra damage. Again, pretty fun to play, pretty nice control mage. And it's really easy to play, it's really fun since we don't have any mana cost at this point, and we can basically do whatever we like and destroy these frozen dudes into ashes with frozen charge heavy attacks, just like that. Oh jeez. I hope you enjoyed this build and you will have blast playing it in Dragon Age Veilguard. Make sure to watch other cool videos on the screen, and see you in the next videos.